Alicia Rush was going to kill herself. She grabbed all her medication and she was going to the woods to take it all, but then realized it was her son's birthday, and that thought snapped her out of it. This was one of many times when she wanted to end her life. She was alone in her trauma and was determined not to live with a tracheotomy for the rest of her life, which was a result of thyroid cancer. Alicia has a message to anyone and everyone who has ever felt hopeless, and you do not want to miss her amazing story.
Have you ever felt like giving up, quitting, throwing in the towel? Welcome to Never Ever Give Up Hope featuring Carol Graham. She's an author, health coach, and motivational speaker. Backed into a corner multiple times in her life, Carol shares with you stories on how she overcame some of the toughest obstacles a person can go through in life, but refused to give up hope. Rather than admit defeat, an opportunity was presented, and it involves each and every one of you. Carol will feature spectacular guests who will share their messages of hope, encouragement, and their inspiration to prove why life's adversities only make you stronger. And now, welcoming the host of the show, here's Carol Graham.
Alicia Rush never imagined that a cancer diagnosis would take away not only her voice, but take it away twice. It did. After surviving two tracheotomies, multiple surgeries, and close brushes with death, she discovered something even more powerful than words. And this is what she's going to share with us today. Welcome, Alicia.
Great. Thank you for having me.
I am so anxious to hear your story, and everything that I've read about you, I know that you're going to touch many people who are feeling possibly hopeless because they might be in a similar situation. And even without that, I mean, your story is just going to be a real blessing to many. So I thank you for joining us today on Never Ever Give Up Hope.
Oh, thank you so much.
So tell us your story. Start from the beginning and tell us your story.
It started in 2022, the beginning of the year. Actually, towards the end of 2021, I was getting my nails done, and a good friend of mine, Lori, who did my nails at the time, I was telling her I can't swallow. It feels like I have a big lump in my throat. Food's coming back up. And she goes, well, you look a little swollen. She goes, it might be your thyroid. She goes, go get it checked. So I made the appointment, and the doctor was like, yeah, it looks like there's something there. And so he did a surgery. He wanted to do the surgery that inserted a balloon because it was calcifying. And that broke up the calcification, and he was thinking, okay, we should be good. And I said, no, I don't think I'm good, Dr. Martin. Something else is going on. And so he ran some tests and called me back to his office and sat me down. And the minute this man walked in, I saw it in his eyes.
Hmm.
He was already welling up with tears. I started
Wow.
to well up with tears. He sat down and he grabbed my hand and he says, I think it's cancer. And we live in a small mountain community, so
Mm.
the hospital is very small.
Hmm.
There's a lot of tests they don't run there that they send you to the city. And so he goes, I'm gonna, refer you down to the city and have you get your biopsies done. And he says, but I have to sign off from here. I've done everything I can. You need to just, go with these new doctors. And we trust our doctors. We take what they say
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
as gospel, that
Right.
they know what they're doing. And I have learned that the sentence, they are practicing medicine.
Right.
I have learned that wholeheartedly through this journey. So I went down, got a biopsy, inconclusive, do another biopsy. Something's there, but we're not sure. Inconclusive. And I'm like, no. And my backstory is I've had cancer two other times. When my sons were born,
Oh, wow.
I had cervical cancer after each one of my children. The first time it wasn't nearly as bad. The second time it was, and I ended up having a partial hysterectomy when I was like 27, 28, I think. I was young and I know my body. So I'm telling these doctors, there's something going on. Well, we'll send you to the endocrinologist. Okay, great. And I'm doing my appointments. He's feeling my throat. Yeah, something's there. But don't worry, you have the good kind of cancer. Thus the title of the book.
Right. I saw
And
that. Right.
I looked at him and I said, excuse me. Oh, we can wait 6 months. You're going to be fine. I'm like, no. Well, you have the good kind of cancer. I said, tell me what that means. Because when you say cancer and it's the good kind in the same sentence, I'm sorry, buddy, but you're blowing smoke. No, it just doesn't correlate. Oh, well, thyroid cancer is slow spreading and, the survival rate, da 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 da. Da. And I was like, I don't think so. So he makes me wait a couple more months. Getting worse by this time. Now it's May, and now I'm vomiting blood almost on a daily.
Oh, dear.
I cannot get food down because of the knot. The cancer's so large, my thyroid's so large. And I finally go back to him and I say, okay, I've had enough. Schedule this darn surgery. Schedule it now. So he says, okay, I can get you in like 3 weeks. It was June 30th, 2022. Go in that day. My son and his wife at the time dropped me off because this was going to be an in and out surgery. I was going home that night. I didn't bring my phone cord. I didn't bring anything. I snapped a photo of me just before I was going in. You can see how swollen I am. And I'm going to get this done. I'm going to be cancer free in a couple hours. I've got this. If it was that simple, wow, it would have been great.
Mm,
I wake up the next morning, or the next morning, tied to a bed with a ventilator breathing for me. And I'm going, what the hell happened to me?
mm.
During the procedure, my lungs collapsed. I coded. They brought me back. And little did anybody know at that point in time, he paralyzed my vocal cords.
Oh, my word.
So what should have been an in and out, I'm one and done, ended up being a 3.5 year journey
No way.
that took me to the darkest of darkest
No
places.
kidding.
I was in the hospital until July 4th. They released me. I still wasn't breathing very well. And during this process, when I woke up, of course, I can't speak because I'm intubated, is what I am.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I'm tied down because they say when you wake up, you're intubated, your first thing is to pull it out.
Right. Right.
So I can't get anybody's attention. I'm laying in ICU and I want to know why I'm there, what happened, and the anxiety. Oh my gosh.
Can't
I
imagine.
finally, I finally got someone's attention. They come in and now they're working on me. And I'm mouthing, what happened to me? What happened to me? Oh, in just a minute, Mrs. Rush. No, I don't want in just a minute. I want to know. So finally, after about 30 minutes, they proceeded to tell me that I was not breathing on my own anymore, that I needed to um, be, intubated and such. And so I just couldn't believe it. Um, I just couldn't, I was so prepared to just it being one and done. So I'm laying there trying to digest everything. Um, and there's a doctor outside. And I notice he's talking to a bunch of other doctors explaining what's
Hmm.
going
Hmm.
on with each patient. And I hear she coded and we brought her back. And I'm sitting there going, who
Hmm.
coded? I'm like looking around going, who's she? And I noticed he's talking about me. And that's when I realized the extent of what happened to me that day.
Wow.
Um, and unfortunately, in my book, there's a specific chapter about when I do wake up. My husband wasn't there. It was COVID. He just didn't believe in COVID. He believed if he got swabbed, it would have COVID on it. He would get sick. And needless to say, he never showed up. I sat there alone dealing with this. And that was difficult. That
No
was really
kidding.
difficult.
Hmm.
My niece comes and she stays with me. They let me out on 4th of July, but my breathing is just not the same. So I'm struggling to breathe. I'm seeing the doctor again. He doesn't even realize what he's done to me.
Oh my
I,
goodness.
yeah, I go about a month and a half around the 20th of August. And I'm texting him because he said, if you're having issues, text me. I said, I need to go to the hospital. I can't sleep anymore. I'm hallucinating. Something's going on with my breathing. And by this time, I had hardly any oxygen going to my brain, which I didn't know that that's what was
Hmm.
going on because my airway was shutting off. So he says, get to the ER. I'm telling him you're on your way. We'll get this handled. I said, okay. So I don't know what get this handled is. I'm
Hmm.
hoping
Hmm.
he fixes it. So I think it was like the 21st of August. I go in and he tells me, you need to have a tracheostomy. And I look at him and I go, excuse me. And he says, yes, you're breathing, your airway is not right. We paralyzed your vocal cords. And I'm like, I'm just sitting here. It's like cancer all over again.
Hmm. Right.
And I flash back. And this is emotional for me, but I still talk about it. I flash back to when I was in the 6th grade. I have a stepdad named Paul, who was my world. He was a firefighter. His lungs collapsed in a fire. He was a friend of my mother's, and he come to live with us. My mom was a nurse, and he had a machine that breathed for him that he was on 24/7. He was bedridden because of it. And us kids just welcomed him and took care of him. It was just Daddy Paul. That's
Right.
what we did. 6th grade, it was November. My mother went out shopping. I was watching Daddy Paul that day, and he had gotten a letter. And I did not know this. Of course, I was too little to understand that his disability was being either cut off or cut, and he did not want to be a burden to my mother. As I walk in, he is reaching for the door. His machines are off, and he's dead.
Oh no.
My brother comes in. He's like, oh my God. So the minute the doctor said tracheostomy,
Hmm.
this is what I deserve because my dad, Paul, died when I was watching him.
Oh my goodness.
And this is what I get. Needless to say, they trached me on my 51st birthday, August 23rd. I still struggle celebrating my birthday today. So now I'm in the hospital again for several days, learning to live with this tube in my throat. Now I'm 51. I cannot shower without being supervised because the minute you get water in there, you get drowned. I can't swim anymore. I can't wash my face like I normally did. Nothing was the same. And he tells me it should be out in about 6 months. Everything should heal and you'll be okay. I go through, the rest of 2022 wanting to die, looking at myself, telling myself how ugly I am. I'm a
Hmm.
monster. Everything you can think of. Christmas was very, I mean, I didn't even get a tree. I didn't want, and I'm a holiday person.
Okay.
I have a storage unit for Halloween decorations, Christmas, fall. I mean, those are the big times in my family. And I didn't care, not one bit. Come March, he takes it out, and that's the end of it. So I'm like, great, this tube is out. I'm gonna be okay. I go to see him and he slips and he says, I've never done this before.
Oh, gee.
And I was like, you never did what? He says, paralyze anybody's vocal cords. So he didn't know how to fix it, how to handle it. He was just blind. He was
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
moving blind. I go to make follow up appointments, and I'm doing my own research. I'm like, can I get injections? Can I get this? Can I get that? He's like, no. And I was like, okay. My voice was still not the best. And I'm texting him, I need to make a follow up. They won't make my appointment. He
Hmm.
ghosted me. He blocked me and would not see me anymore.
Oh my goodness. Gee whiz.
So here I am from March until the end of May, not knowing again what's going on with me because he took it out. I mean, this is all new to me. And I'm already dealing with everything that's going on. I'm not in my mind, my mind's not in the right frame. I'm just living, trying to.
Right, right.
And
Surviving.
yeah, surviving, exactly. My nieces and nephews came over for Memorial Weekend that year, which, again, a lot of them ghosted me as well. Unfortunately, a lot of family, friends, you say cancer and everybody runs.
Exactly.
Um, and my niece is a nurse, and she looked at me and she says, "How long have you been breathing like this?" I said, "Quite a while." She goes, "You need to get to a hospital now. You're not going to make it." And I'm like, "What?" She goes, "You need to get to a hospital now." So they rush me to our local hospital and they tell me they have to fly me via helicopter to the local hospital down the mountain because I'm dying.
Hmm.
I get down there, I'm in the ER, the doctor comes in and he says, "Your airway's shutting down." He goes, "You have weeks at the most. We need to trach you." And I looked at him and I said, "I'll take my chances." He says, "Do you understand what I'm saying to you?" I said, "Yeah." "You want to put another tube in my throat?" I said, "And I won't have it. I can't." He goes, "You're going to die." And I understand that. He says, "I'm going to give you a few minutes to rethink your decision. I'll be back." So I laid there, and of course, I'm thinking about my sons, just thinking about my life. And I can't be selfish. My boys still need me. So he comes in, and I said, "Okay, treat me." They rushed me into surgery, and there was so much scar tissue.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it had formed. It was a mess. But they got it in, and I wake up, and my brother Carrie's sitting with me, and they finally get me in a room. I'm in the hospital again, another 8, 9 days, and they tell me, with all the scar tissue, you're never going to be able to speak again. And I'm just like, what? Are you serious?
Hmm. Hmm.
And, they're having me write on a board. And they were like, yeah, you're going to have to, go to learn sign language, all this stuff. And I'm just like, I'm never going to speak again. And, this is what I'm thinking. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. What the hell? What is going on? It was thyroid cancer. Unfortunately, it was stage 2 and it spread, even though I had the
No
good
way.
kind of cancer.
Oh,
Um, I'm just like, it was supposed to be a routine surgery. What are they doing to me? And so I'm in the hospital and, I'm only communicating via the whiteboard. I'm writing
Right,
notes.
right.
And so they send me home about 8 days into it. And I come home and I'm home for a couple weeks and I'm mouthing stuff, to my husband and the kids. And a squeak comes out. And I go,
Hmm.
oh my gosh. So little by little, it started to come back. It was very low, very raspy, very hard to hear. And I looked at my youngest son, Jacob, and I told him, and let me tell you, Jacob, I have two sons. Michael's my oldest, Jacob is my youngest. Jacob was still at home, and that kid is my ride or die. He went
Wow.
to every appointment. He was at every surgery. There are pictures of us after every surgery in my hospital room. Mom, let's have movie night. Mom, let's play cards. This kid did not leave my side. And
Ah.
he was only 22. He saw way more than he ever should have.
Hmm.
Um, so we get home and I said, we're going to find a doctor. I said, this trach has got to come out. It really does. And he's like, yeah, I know, Mom. He says, let's figure this out. So we do and research and we find a doctor out of Orange County and we go see him. And he was like, there's nothing I can do. I'm sorry. He says, but I have this colleague up in LA named Dr. Odell. He says she's a whiz with this stuff.
Hmm.
So we go and we see her, and she says 85% of tracheostomies are not necessary. It depends on the doctor that's doing it and how he handles what's going on.
Hmm.
Well, I'm sorry, but Dr. Robertson, my ENT, didn't know how to handle it. I did not need to be trained.
Hmm.
All of that was unnecessary. If he knew how to handle opening up my airways and getting me to breathe,
Hmm.
and he didn't. So this was in September, and I stayed trached through December, and it was that October because I was getting impatient. I wanted it out. I was second guessing if she could do it. I was done. I couldn't wait any longer, so I took my pills and I went out to the woods because we live in the mountains. I turned off my location and I was ready. This time I was ready. I've thought about it. Gosh, I thought about it a lot.
Hmm.
And I have a brother, Zachary, that in 2005, my brother committed suicide because he had colon cancer. And I was so mad for so long at him. How could he do that? And I sat there and I apologized for my anger because, Zachary, I know how you felt.
Hmm.
I'm there. I'm at the darkest of darkest places and I don't want to go on. And I looked down at my phone and it said October 27th, and that was Michael's birthday. And I thought, how can I leave the legacy of my mom killed
Hmm.
herself on my birthday? So I said, all right. I gave myself a kick in the ass. I said, I can't do this no more. I've got to do this. I've got to move forward. So we had several consultations. She was doing other stuff for me. And on December 2nd, or December 5th, the trach came out
Hmm.
just in time for Christmas. I was so excited. So the trach comes out. I'm doing okay. I have a surgery on January 3rd, 2020. Where are we at? 5 now. And what she's doing is she is removing the excess cartilage to open
Hmm.
my airways so I can breathe without
Right.
the trach. So I'm going through the motions. I'm waiting for that surgery, the tube's out, and I'm struggling to breathe. I'm going through what I did that May, and I'm going, I can't have another trach. I can't. So I make it through Christmas, and I did not know until after the fact that December 27th at 2 a.m. on my phone, I had recorded myself breathing. I don't remember it.
Hmm.
And it was the worst sound you could ever hear. It was bad. And then the next night, I don't recall, but around 3 o'clock in the morning, I got up and I drove myself to the local hospital. I didn't tell anybody. I don't remember going. The only memory I have of that is I remember handing my purse to somebody. I died that night. They brought me back. They intubated me and put me on another helicopter and sent me off. I woke up a few days later, not knowing where I was, how I got there. I was intubated again. They had called my husband and my son to ask them what were my last wishes. Where did they want the body to go?
Wow.
Because I was done. They didn't think I was going to make it. They were like, she's asleep. And they're like, no, she's not. She's been to the hospital. We flew her out. It was a mess. It was a mess. So I'm in the hospital and they're keeping me alive at Riverside Hospital until Dr. Odell comes back from vacation. And I go in and they transport me via ambulance to LA. And when I got there, I remember seeing a Christmas tree in the lobby. And I looked at the paramedic and I said, is it Christmas? And he looks at me and he's like, yeah, it's New Year's. It's after New Year's now. I had no idea.
Oh my goodness.
I knew nothing. So I go in and finally she goes in and she does the surgery, but she doesn't get enough out because I'm intubated. I was in the hospital 14 days. Again, she was able to remove, not have the trach in. I didn't have to be retrached. They finally took the intubation out, the tubes out, and I was awake when they did that. I was so scared and so nervous that I didn't know. I mean, I was terrified. So they took that out, and I was okay. I stayed a few more days, and I finally came home, um, not knowing that I would have 4 or 5 more surgeries within the next year
Oh,
to
gee.
continue to continue taking the cartilage out, to keep my airways open. It was it was traumatic. The next year, we were back in LA at the hospital, and I saw that Christmas tree and the PTSD.
Yeah, I bet.
Oh my gosh, I flew off the handle. She had wanted to schedule another surgery on January 3rd. The minute they said January 3rd, it triggered.
Of course.
I panicked again. I didn't know that I was flown off the mountain via helicopter until I got the bill 2 months later. I was like, I already paid that, that's already been handled. And they were like, no, you were flown off again. And I was like, I don't remember. They said, well, you are out. So, 2025, I get a call. It's the hospital. Well, let me go back a little bit. March, I got sick. In 2025, this was after all the surgery and stuff. I got a cold. So I go into the local ER, and this nurse comes up to me and she says, oh my gosh, it's you. And I'm looking around again, going, okay, yeah. And she starts crying. And she goes, I held you that night. I begged you not to leave me.
Oh,
She says, we did everything we could. She said, the doctor brought in the best team to keep you alive. We brought you back and then we just prayed you would stay. She goes, we didn't know once you got on the helicopter if you lived or died. We didn't think you made it. And talk about surreal.
no kidding.
So I'm sitting there trying to digest and comprehend what this nurse is talking about. And all of a sudden she steps out and then she brings in like 4 or 5 other people, the phlebotomist. I mean, and they're all crying and they're all telling me what they did to save me that night. There were no words. There were no words to thank them the way they needed to be thanked. They all thought I died. It really puts everything into perspective.
Yes, I bet.
As of this January, I have been a year without any surgeries. I wanted to hit that milestone so bad. I have been, as of June 30th this year, just a few weeks, I have been cancer-free in remission for 4 years.
Oh, wonderful.
The voice that they said I would never have is come back stronger than they ever thought it would. And I'm still here. I'm still here.
You're still here.
Yes.
Well, you are one avid storyteller,
Thank you.
amazing storyteller. I'm
Thank you.
sitting on the edge of my seat listening with my eyes closed and imagining, trying to imagine, and I can't begin to, of what you have gone through. So we're going to switch gears a little bit. We're going to take a short 15-second break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about your book and who needs to read it. We'll be right back.
Carol Graham would like to show you the path from misery to miraculous triumph in her fast-paced memoir, Battered Hope. She relates her determination to succeed as someone who experienced one horrendous nightmare after another. Gang raped and left for dead, loss of a child, husband falsely imprisoned, and cancer. Nothing could break her tenacity or faith. No matter what you face, heartache, loss, suffering, or injustice, Carol will illustrate how she became a victor the same way you can. The secret is to never, ever give up hope. Order your copy at Amazon or batteredhope.blogspot.com.
Well, Alicia, this has left me. I don't have the words to describe the emotion, but there's anger, there's fear, there's there's the emotion of sadness and the understanding of your tenacity, which is mind-blowing, and on and on and on. And you've checked all the boxes.
Yeah.
You've touched every corner. So what I want to do now, if you would please, is to share about your book, who should read it, what they're going to get out of it, anything like along those lines, because you have a message that everybody needs to hear, whether they are going through trauma or not, because it is the human spirit that you are talking about, and we all have one.
Yeah.
Okay, so please share what you would like about that, and then yeah, just go ahead.
Okay. I was actually journaling, trying to process everything I'd been through. And I started forming a book. And I thought, okay, maybe this is my true path. This is where I need to be. So I wrote The Good Kind of Cancer, Turning Pain into Purpose One Day at a Time. Not only to help myself, because I needed it. I needed to feel all those emotions again and deal with them, but to help anyone that is going through any kind, not just cancer, but any
Right.
kind of trauma, to let you know that there is hope. There is a light at the tunnel, at the end of the tunnel. I could have died on so many occasions, which, I did flatline several times, but I mean, I fought and I'm here.
Right, right.
I'm here at the end of the day. And I tell a lot of people, we sit there and why God me? Why, or whoever you talk to, why me?
Mm-hmm.
Why me? Well, you know what? One day I realized I know my why. And it was to write the book. It is to help others that need it, to let them know you're not alone. That was one of my biggest things is I felt so alone.
Mm,
And so I have vowed if I can make one person not feel alone, then, my purpose is there.
right.
It's not, what I've been through is not in vain. And I have helped several people. And when I get feedback from people, it just warms my heart. It makes everything that I've been through a tad bit easier
Mm.
to remember and to deal with. Don't get me wrong, I still have PTSD. I still have trauma. A few weeks ago, I needed to order supplies, and it threw me back to when I ordered tracheostomy supplies.
Oh my goodness.
And I
Yeah.
did, I did a whole video on my Instagram of me just bawling because I need to be raw and I need to be real.
Yes.
I'm not going to sit out and put, oh, I'm in a good place today. Oh, this, I'm not in a good place all the time. And it's okay. I want to tell you, if you're listening, it's okay not to be in a good place every day. That's not reality. But with social media, you start seeing, oh, so and so has the best life, and so and we don't know what goes on behind closed
Exactly.
doors. Do not fall into that trap. Okay. It's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to feel those emotions. If it takes you to where you don't want to get out of bed today, that's okay. Feel those emotions. Grieve whatever it is you're going through. Feel it, but make a vow to get up tomorrow. Because if you don't feel those feelings now, you're just going to push them under the rug and they're going to compound and compound
That's right. Good
and come
point.
back and it's going to be worse. You're going to get to a dark place and I don't want you to go there. You're not alone. Reach out to me. I have said on several different podcasts and in my book and on my social media, reach out to me. I will answer all my messages, emails, whatever it is. I do a weekly letter now that I send out. You just need to send me your email address, and it's
Okay.
tips and tools on how to get through different things.
Mm.
And I've gotten really good feedback from a lot of my followers on that. They really enjoy it. But my main message is you're not alone. You're not alone. You have me in your corner.
And you felt alone for so long that you
Yeah.
know the need for people to not feel that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yes. And I'm actually just finishing up a second book. It's a follow-up to The Good Kind of Cancer, and it's titled Life After Cancer, What We Don't Want to Talk About or What We Don't Talk About.
When will that be ready?
Hopefully by the end of this year.
Okay.
I will
Okay.
keep you updated on that.
Yes, please.
And this book goes into the cancer's done. Okay. We've all,
Mm-hmm.
the cancer's gone. So the phone calls aren't as much. The visits aren't
Mm-hmm.
as
Right.
frequent, but we are still going to the doctor. We are still getting poked and prodded and scanned. And the minute we don't feel good, oh my God, is it back? We still have to deal with daily
Right. Right.
life.
Exactly.
During this whole process, I did not know my oldest son was a closet alcoholic. We deal with that during all of this.
Mm.
Um, and I'm glad he is almost 10 months sober and he's got his life
Oh,
on the right
wow.
track now. Life doesn't stop. But at this point, we don't want to be a bother anymore. We've already drained, as
Mm-hmm.
many people as we could helping us. And it's okay to still ask for help.
I'm thinking of so many people that need to hear this, so I'm very, very anxious to share that. One question that I have, were there any repercussions to the doctor or doctors or staff, um, in this regard? What went wrong?
No,
Nothing.
you sign a waiver with all the
Yeah.
possibilities, and he got off scot-free. And so I'm the one that had to pick up the pieces and keep
Yeah. Yeah,
going.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, my dear Alicia, this has been wonderful. I so glad that we connected, that I am having the opportunity to share your story. And like I said, I can just in my personal little world, I can think of many people who need to hear your story. And so we're going to get this story out there
Thank
in
you.
every way that we can. And I
Thank you.
appreciate how raw you were. That definitely is needed, and you didn't
Yeah.
sugarcoat.
No.
You were emotional. All of this is so important and necessary when
Yeah.
we share. So you are, like I said, an avid storyteller to the max, and I am so glad to have met you. And thank
Oh,
you
you as
so
well.
very much for being on Never Ever Give Up Hope, which you didn't.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to Never Ever Give Up Hope, featuring Carol Graham. Did you know that most people succeed because they are determined to? Quitting was never an option. Carol loves your comments and will respond to each one. So please subscribe and review this podcast. A rating of 5 stars would be outstanding and appreciated. Remember, if you are still here, there is always hope.